It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you all to the 4th edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you all to the 4th edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair, NOGOF, which is a biennial event, because we understand that it takes time to realize most opportunities. We do this every 2 years. The first event was held in Uyo, in Akwa Ibom State, which was the inaugural event. And during the COVID, we did not drop the ball with regards to NOGOF. We transmuted, if you like, to the online NOGOF that we held, which was also very, very successful. And today we are here again in Bayelsa State to hold the 4th edition of this event. As an incurable optimist that I am, I look forward to the oil and gas industry truly fueling the industrialization of our nation by the time we hold the next NOGOF event, which of course I would have retired as the Executive Secretary of NCDMB then. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I once again, on behalf of my colleagues within NCDMB, the management and staff of NCDMB, welcome you all to Bayelsa and welcome you all to the Nigerian Content Towers. Please do enjoy yourself and have a great 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to beg your indulgence. Please let us settle down so we can play the safety video, all right? We will be watching the safety video that will be displayed on the screen shortly, so please let us all settle down so that that safety video can be shown on the screen. Thank you very much. Yes, the hall is becoming quieter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is a very, very important aspect of the event. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board prioritizes your safety, and yes, as long as you are on the premises, your personal safety is of the utmost importance to the board. So allow me to beg your indulgence one more time. Please let us settle down so we can watch the safety video that will be played on the screen. Thank you very much. Let us settle down. Thank you. We will indeed have to concentrate. All right, let us settle down. Thank you very much. All right, let us settle down, please. Thank you.
The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, promoters of the development and utilization of in-country capacities for the industrialization of the Nigerian oil and gas industry. The NCDMB facility is made up of 3 buildings: a 17-floor main building, the ultra-modern conference center with a 1,000-seater hall, and the multi-level car park. This facility is equipped with a clinic, gym, and restaurant. The car park is fully automated with a central parking management system and over 300 parking spaces, including designated parking spaces for the physically challenged on the ground floor. NCDMB is dedicated to your safety, so while you're in our facility, it's important that you obey all health, safety, and environment emergency procedures. Please ensure you go through the security checks at the entrance. Stop your vehicles to be checked and scanned, and the appropriate clearance received before driving into the facility. Use your seatbelts. Do not use your phone while driving within this facility. Ensure to comply with the 10 km/h speed limit and the one-way drive-through within the facility. This building is equipped with an access control system, so ensure to go through all security checks to be granted the necessary access within the facility. Please ensure to adhere to the no smoking warnings within the facility. The NCDMB building is a smart facility designed and built with the intent of comfort and safety for all users. There are conveniences for male, female, and the physically challenged to the left side of the reception area and on every floor of the main building. In the conference center building, the conveniences are located on both wings of the ground floor and the first floor. There are signages to guide you within this facility. The green Walkman image and arrow indicates direction of exit. It's important to identify exit points nearest to you at all times. Please note that this facility is under 24 hours CCTV surveillance. This facility is equipped with smoke and fire detectors and sprinklers. In the unlikely event of an emergency, the fire alarms blare continuously, followed by announcement over the public address system, informing people in the building on how to safely evacuate. Do not panic. Stop whatever you are doing, leave your belongings and walk briskly to the muster points using the various exit routes indicated for emergency use. Do not use the lifts as they will be automatically disabled during emergencies. Only the stairways should be used during emergencies. At the muster point, a head count will be carried out. Do not go back into the building until the emergency is under control and you're addressed by a competent safety officer. Fire hose reels and fire extinguishers are strategically located on all floors of the building. The facility is also equipped with fire hydrants and a breacher inlet for easy access for firefighters in an emergency situation. Do not fight a fire if you're not trained to do so. Your safety is our responsibility, but your compliance to our rules will help us keep you and everyone safe. Have a safe stay in the Nigerian Content Tower.
Your safety is our responsibility as long as you are on the premises. And yes, it is very important that you're well advised of the rules and the guidelines as displayed right there on the screen in that video that we just watched. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you for the purpose of this event, the all-in-one event management solution that will indeed run the affairs electronically. That is the Hoover app. It's WHOVA. So if you don't have that app downloaded, please do so right about now. The Hoover app, WHOVA. It will come on the screen shortly. So it is a very, very important event management solution, and that is what we will be using for NOGOF 2023. So yes, if you do not have that app downloaded on your phone, you can visit the Apple Store. You can also visit the Google Play Store. So when you download that app, there is a certain code that you might need to apply, and it is 2EP8TIK7YB. I will take that again. 2EP8TIK7YB. That is the code that you have to enter on the app to give you access to the event for the next 2 days. 2EP8TIK7YB. So yes, when you are logged in, you will be able to access the agenda for NOGOF 2023. It's also an opportunity for networking. And yes, there are communities and groups that you can join right there on the app. It is a very, very important event management solution. And yes, we'll be running NOGOF 2023 on the app. So once you download that app and fill in your details, you will be able to access the event agenda. There's also opportunity for networking. You have games and discussions right there on the app. You can also join in the communities and in the groups that will be on the app. So yes, you can see that you have all the sessions listed. All of them will be on the app. So if you don't have that app downloaded, please do so. You can visit the Apple Store. You can also visit the Google Play Store. Hoover, WHOVA. That is the app that will be necessary for this event. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. All right. It's also very important that you're well advised of the following announcements. As I usually like to say at events of this nature, please ensure that your weapons of mass distraction, your WMDs, are in vibration mode. By that, of course, I refer to your mobile phones. So wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen, please take out your mobile phones and keep them in vibration mode. I'm just running through the housekeeping rules. So ensure that your mobile phones are in vibration mode. That will help us to reduce or eliminate all forms of distraction as the event progresses. As you've seen in the video, yes, it's also very important that you're well advised of the locations of the nearest safety exits. Should you feel the need to answer the call of nature, we have restrooms adequately provided on either side of the hall. And of course, as you step outside of the hall, please feel free to ask our ushers. They will direct you to the nearest restrooms. It's also very important that you keep an eye on your personal possessions, your bags, your laptops, your iPads, iPods, your mobile phones, and whatever else you came here with. At events of this nature, it's not impossible that, yes, everyone has an identical conference bag, so it's very important that you're well advised of the locations of your personal possessions. Ensure that they are always in your line of sight. That will help us to reduce the incident of misplaced items. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. Thank you.
It's a beautiful thing to be in Bielsa. I was in Bielsa 2013 when I came here to render the national anthem at the centenary pageantry. So it's a fantastic thing to be in the glory of all lands. Please put a round of applause for yourself and appreciate somebody sitting to your left and to your right. Come on, a round of applause will do. Thank you very much. We will be standing up now for the national anthem. I would like to ask that you please oblige us by standing up for the national anthem. Thank you. Thank you. You may please be seated. I'd like to call on my fellow compere to please come and do the needful. Thank you very much for being here. We trust that you have an amazing time at NOGOF 2023.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasurable morning to you all. On behalf of the organizers, we welcome you to the 4th edition of the biennial Nigeria Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair, NOGOF. The theme for the 2023 edition of NOGOF is the oil and gas industry, catalyst and fuel for the industrialization of Nigeria. Once again, we welcome you. We trust that, yes, we'll have insightful and meaningful deliberations as the event progresses. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us today, our chief host, the Executive Governor of Bayelsa State, His Excellency Senator Duoye Diri, is represented by none other than the Commissioner for Mineral Resources in the person of Dr. Ebirin Jones. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. We trust that you bring glad tidings from His Excellency. You're most welcome, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, also with us today is none other than the Group Chief Executive Officer, NNPC Limited, in the person of Malamele Kyari. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. The Group Chief Executive Officer, NNPC Limited, Malamele Kyari. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us, we have the Commission Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, FNSC, who is represented by the Executive Commissioner. NUPRC is also a member of the Governing Council of the NCDMB, Dr. Kelechi Ofoegbu. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, in the person of Engineer Farouk Ahmed, is represented by none other than the Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund, MDGIF, at the NMDPRA, and that is none other than Mr. Mansour Kuliya. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, junior host for today is none other than Engineer Simbi KCA Wabote, FNSC FIPS. You're most welcome, sir. It is an honor to have you with us today, and yes, we welcome you warmly. I've not been advised of the presence of the DG of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jama OFR. If he's indeed here, we will recognize him as appropriate. Thank you very much, sirs. Thank you very much, ma'ams. It is indeed an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have in our midst the chairman of the OPTS, which is a section of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He's also chairman and managing director, Chevron Nigeria Limited. Mr. Rick Kennedy is represented by the Director, Business Services, Mr. Cosmas Uweze. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to do that again. Please give him a sponsor's round of applause. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to recognize the pioneer Executive Secretary of the NCDMB, Dr. Ernest Nwakwa. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. We also want to recognize the presence of other directors of the NCDMB who are present with us, all the members of the Governing Council. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, the Managing Director of SPDC is also the country chair, Shell Companies in Nigeria, Mr. Osagi Okumbo. Round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. As we have more information, we will, of course, make that public. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, Terry, for the next program on the agenda. Thank you very much.
I guess by next year, my time will be up as the Executive Secretary, so I don't have 4 more years, and I'm not looking for third term. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Bayelsa State, ably represented by the Commissioner of Mineral Resources, Ebere Jones, heads of government agencies here present, the members of the Governing Council of NCDMB, the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, my brother and friend, Malam Mele Kolo Kiari, my elder brother. At some point we were arguing and it was established that he's indeed my elder brother. The Executive Vice President, Gas and Power and Renewables of NNPC, Abdul Kadri Ahmed, who also is a member of the Governing Council. You know, somewhere along the line they were printing the program for today, and because you don't see gas, it's not visible to the eye. So they missed out his picture because he's the Vice President of Gas. But we saw him here physically and were able to touch him. The MDs and CEOs of international oil companies, particularly the chairman of OPTS, who is ably represented, and also the chairman of Shell Companies in Nigeria, Mr. Osagi Okumbo, used to be my boss at some point in Shell, is fully present here. I also see the MD of Shell Nigerian Gas, my friend and colleague Ed Ubong, who is also here with us. I also see a director of PROS within the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, my friend and brother who is also present with us at this time. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I crave your indulgence to stand on the protocol that has been established by the masters of ceremonies here present today. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you all to the 4th edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair, NOGOF, which is a biennial event, because we understand that it takes time to realize most opportunities. We do this every 2 years. The first event was held in Uyo, in Akwa Ibom State, which was the inaugural event. And during the COVID, we did not drop the ball with regards to NOGOF. We transmuted, if you like, to the online NOGOF that we held, which was also very, very successful. And today we are here again in Bayelsa State to hold the 4th edition of this event. I am indeed excited to be here with you physically again in our own conference center, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic prevented us from congregating at the last edition, which was held virtually. The theme of this year's NOGOF is Oil and Gas Industry, Catalyst and Fuel for Industrialization of Nigeria. This theme clearly reflects the pivotal role that the oil and gas industry is expected, I underscore that word, expected to play in driving the economic growth and development of Nigeria. Of late, this role expected of the oil and gas industry has been dwindling due to missed opportunities as a result of policy inconsistency, deferred decision, and investment apathy. And of course, we all know the reason for investment apathy, which is a global challenge. And then when we began to have the headwind with regards to climate change. Just to set the context, I would like to draw your attention to the nation's GDP growth rate between the years 2021 to 2022, as released by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. Over this period, the growth of the nation's GDP has been marginal. But the reality is that we need to drive the growth rate to double digits for us to achieve the level of economic advancement and development that we desire as a nation. The NBS report stated that the total annual contribution of oil to aggregate GDP in 2022 was 5.67%, compared to 7.24% in 2021. The oil sector has steadily dropped behind agriculture, trade, telecommunications, ICT, and real estate in terms of sectors that contributed the most to the Nigerian gross domestic product. These are signs of a sector that is struggling, and we must all join hands to stop the decline so that we can return oil and gas contribution to GDP to double-digit levels similar to other major oil-producing countries. For instance, Norway has doubled its gross domestic product in the last 2 years from 171.2 billion to 367 billion, with the oil and gas sector contributing about 20%, followed by their hydropower. Although Norway is in a different climate from Nigeria, we share some similarities when we look at the huge deposit of natural resources coupled with the skilled labor force and the adoption of a new technology that made Norway a prosperous country during the 20th and 21st centuries. It is my belief that the oil and gas sector can serve as the catalyst that will enable us to achieve the desired double-digit GDP rate if we are bold and disruptive in our strategy. One probable means through which double-digit GDP growth can be achieved is by harnessing the array of opportunities that exist in various categories enabled by the oil and gas industry. In the aspect of creating opportunities, the NOGIC Act sets the minimum targets in 278 services across oil and gas value chain in its schedule. I have always referred to the schedule of the NOGOF Act as a compendium of opportunities waiting for any serious investor to tap into. The schedule lists out the various activities in the oil and gas industry and sets out the desired level of Nigerian content for which any discerning investor can position himself or herself for patronage. Beyond the core oil and gas activities related to exploration and production, there are several related activities enabled by our industry, such as security, insurance, medical, ICT, legal services, aviation, catering, and several others. We have therefore designed NOGOF with the following objectives in mind. A, to showcase opportunities in the upstream, midstream, and downstream sector of the petroleum industry, provide opportunity for foreign and local investors to build synergies in the Nigerian oil and gas industry, provide Nigerian companies and prospective investors an opportunity to showcase their capabilities, provide stakeholders with information on upcoming projects to enable Nigerian companies, manufacturers, tailor their business development strategies, identify high-impact activities with potential for in-country value addition with a 5-year look ahead to deepen the practice of Nigerian content. In view of these objectives, let me share 5 broad categories of opportunities which I would like to highlight in this welcome address as we prepare to go into the various opportunities and technical sessions today and tomorrow. These categories are policy-driven opportunities, people-driven opportunities, fund-driven opportunities, infrastructure-driven opportunities, and situational opportunities. Opportunities driven by policies, guidelines, and regulations and statutes are attractive to investors as there is clarity on the framework governing their business endeavors. Several policies have been formulated and implemented by the government in their quest to stimulate economic growth and development. For instance, in 2021, Mr. President declared the Decade of Gas, which among others seek to stimulate the development and utilization of gas resources for increased domestic utilization and export towards generating more revenues for the nation. Other policies, such as the automotive gas policy, advocates for the use of CNG as an alternative fuel for vehicles, and this has also created a vista of opportunities in the supply and installation of conversion of kits in vehicles to enable it use CNG and potentially LNG itself. Several industries have also installed kits to enable their power generating plants to utilize LNG and CNG, and in some cases, LNG instead of diesel to manage costs. These policy initiatives have led to the creation of several businesses and a surge in local utilization of gas. For example, the annual consumption of LPG increased from 360,000 tons in 2015 to 1.4 million tons in 2022. While this growth is commendable, it is instructive to note that about half of the local LPG requirements is imported. In addition, the consumption level is still far below the 4 million tons consumption by the year 2025, as targeted by the National Gas Expansion Program. These gaps in volumes and consumption spread present opportunities in local processing and storage depots, trucking, cylinders manufacturing, distribution, pipelines, conversion kits, and many other opportunities. The Nigerian Gas Fair Commercialization Program is another policy that is aimed at promoting the development and utilization of gas It also focuses on reducing greenhouse gas emission in line with global efforts which are aimed at addressing climate change. The key thing to note here is that every policy, regulation, or statute holds an array of opportunities that can be harnessed and utilized to achieve significant benefits. The Petroleum Industry Act is one of the most audacious attempts that have been made to overhaul our petroleum sector. The Act has now provided investors with more clarity on the business environment, and it's expected that the 2-year-old PIA will soon start to yield the desired results. In keeping with the expectations of Nigerians, when something new comes, Nigerians expect that the results should come the next day. But most of these things take time, proper planning, strategic thinking, and proper implementation make those things to happen. The NOGOF Act 2010 provides opportunity to investors by stating in Section 3 and 12 of the Act that first consideration shall be given to Nigerian goods and services by operators and their contractors in the implementation of their projects. The African Continental Free Trade Area is another broad-based policy that provides opportunity for the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. The AFTA creates the single largest free trade market in the world for goods and services in Africa. And this has numerous opportunities, including market, source of raw materials, export of manpower, to mention but a few. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to bring to your attention that these policies, guidelines, regulations, and statutes required subject matter experts for their interpretation, application, and advocacy. I have had cause to admonish Nigerian content managers that they cannot just rely on relationships to secure approvals and authorizations. The practice of Nigerian content and the understanding of the regulatory requirements in Nigerian oil and gas industry in general requires a professional thought. There are huge opportunities for individuals and businesses willing to develop the skill sets acquired to offer regulatory compliance support services to operators and service companies. The importance of competent personnel in any organization cannot be overemphasized. Having the right framework and qualified people equipped with the right technical expertise and dedication is essential for effective project delivery and nation building. From inception, the board has always been an advocate of human capital development. Through our capacity building directorate, we have funded and engaged in numerous training activities across the country. Our Nigerian oil and gas industry content joint qualification system provides a platform for various stakeholders to participate in the different types of training offered by our partners in the oil and gas industry. The NCDMB has been a champion for providing opportunities for youths and women in the oil and gas industry and its linkage sector through valued training. These training provides youths, both male and female, with required skills set necessary for them to participate in opportunities across different industries, especially in this technology-driven age. We have provided train-the-trainer programs across the country, delivered over 13 million man-hours in on-the-job training covering sea time for marine cadets, non-destructive testing, equipping youths in the new skill sets such as GSM repairs, solar power installation, and provision of entrepreneurial exposures that will ensure sustainability. With almost 1 million graduates, technicians, and artisans being produced every year, there is a huge need to provide human capacity development programs to develop our youths and keep them engaged in productive activities. Regulation number 1 of our gazetted ministerial regulation provides for training in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. It provides for minimum standards, facilities, personnel and technology for training in the oil and gas industry, and modalities for evolving operators and service providers as partners in training and development. Funding also plays a critical role in realizing the opportunities within the oil and gas industry. We did introduce and widen the option for assessing interventions even further with our $300 million Nigerian Content Intervention Fund with the Bank of Industry. And we make bold to say, and are proud to say, that that is one of the most successful loan schemes that is existing in the country today. Our $50 million Nigerian Content Research and Development Fund and our $50 million NOGOF Manufacturing Fund. Over 70 companies have so far benefited from the intervention funds for asset acquisition, manufacturing, loan refinancing, and project financing. The forensic audit of remittances into the Nigerian Content Development Fund also opened opportunities for 25 audit companies engaged to check the books of about 150 companies providing services to the oil and gas sector. Let me state here that other sources of funds exist apart from the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund, such as with the NDDC, with NIMASA, with BOI, African Development Fund, and the Afri-Exim Bank, which of course vendors and service providers have opportunity to access. The National Agency for Science and Technology Infrastructure, NASENI, has statutory funding of 1% of federation account and 0.25% levy on profits of certain categories of commercial companies. These represent very good source of funds, and we have commenced discussions with NASENI on areas of collaboration to support service providers within our industry. There is no gainsaying that the desired local content level of opportunities cannot be harnessed by Nigerian companies without the domiciliation of critical infrastructure. The focus of the outgoing administration on railways, roads, bridges, airports, defense, power, and solar energy parks provides opportunity not only in the development of these infrastructure, but also in the subsequent maintenance, which is also very critical. I am delighted that some of the companies and capabilities developed in the oil and gas industry have deployed to deliver these infrastructures. I employ other service companies not to limit their focus only on opportunities within the oil and gas industry, but extend it to other sectors of the economy. From where I sit, I am aware of the struggle of some agencies of government to deliver capital projects contained in the approved budget due to lack of competent contractors. On our own part, we continue to put in place some building blocks to support value retention in the country. The Nigerian Oil and Gas Park Scheme at Odukbani in Cross River State and the one at Emeal 1 in Bayelsa State are both at advanced stages of completion. The industrial park provides opportunities in the areas of manufacturing, logistics, security, facility management, training, catering services, occupational health services, and many others. With the completion and commissioning of the Nigerian Content Tower about 3 years ago, we have commenced the construction of our 204-room conference hotel next door to complement the Nigerian Content Conference Center where we are seated today. And we believe, all things being equal, that that project will be completed within 2 years. While you're here, take time, you can peep through and see progress. We have, as of today, installed about 150 piles, and we are now building the pile caps, and within the next 2 months, we will start erecting the superstructure of that hotel. Apart from the opportunities provided during the ongoing construction of the conference hotel, we believe these facilities will require catering, logistics, cleaning and maintenance, and other services when fully operational, including safety, including firefighting, and all that is required. The Oloibiri Museum and Research Center, thanks to our funding partners, the joint venture of SPDC, which is represented, of course, by NMPC and all their funding partners, Total and Ajib. We thank PTDF, who is also a funding partner, as well as the Bayelsa State Government, that is also a key funding partner, and NCDMB. The Oloibiri Museum and Research Center will enhance conference tourism in this part of the country. On behalf of our partners, PTDF, SPDC Joint Venture, and Bayelsa State Government, let me use this opportunity to once again express our gratitude to His Excellency, President Muhammad Buhari, and the Federal Executive Council for approving the Oloibiri Museum project. Lastly, in the infrastructure-driven opportunities, let me highlight that we have also commenced the front-end design of the Brass Island Shipyard project. We see opportunities on the need to put in place a dockyard of sufficient size to handle repair and maintenance requirement of marine vessels of various sizes, including container ship, oil tankers, and LNG carriers. We thank NLNG for partnering with us to kickstart this project. The Brass Island Shipyard project entails the development of 301-meter graving dock, 650-meter fitting-out quay for LNG carriers, oil tankers, and cargo ships for up to 150,000 DWT, deadweight tonnage. In a year, the shipyard will enable in-country maintenance and repair of 7 LNG vessels or oil tankers, 21 container ships, 8 jackups, and 30 other vessels. The shipyard will further boost our national shipbuilding maintenance and service capacity, thereby earning the much-needed revenue and foreign exchange for Nigeria. As the Lekki Deep Sea Port becomes operational, in addition to existing ports, Nigeria will witness more vessels coming into the nation, and a facility like the Brass Shipyard will create a situation where the LNG tankers and other vessels can carry out maintenance and repairs here in Nigeria. Presently, if there are any issues of maintenance and repair, these vessels either go to Equatorial Guinea or next door Ghana to get themselves repaired. The global incidents and occurrences opportunities are more pronounced in regions that are experiencing the form of challenge or the other. This situation can better be explained by the existential need of humans for energy, which means that people, businesses, and governments will do whatever they have to do to get the energy that they need. Of course, self-preservation is very important to every human. This explained the situation where Germany had to restart their hitherto shut down local power plants when they experienced distortion in their supply of gas from Russia due to the Russian-Ukraine war. Closer home, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the situation we found ourselves as regards provision of energy in various forms to power economic activity provides huge opportunity for all of us. From diesel to petrol, LPG, CNG, and electric power, the demand is huge and we could barely meet up that demand. I am delighted that we are about to see some of the efforts come to fruition, such as the upcoming commissioning of the Dangote refinery on the 22nd of May, which is Monday next week. The Presidential Power Initiative with Siemens provides a roadmap to get us up to 25,000 megawatts stable electricity. In the gas sector, we anticipate a lot of activities in the LPG, CNG, and LNG utilization in country, underpinned by the Decade of Gas program. We also believe there will be a considerable energy mix with the renewables, especially solar energy. At the end of the last edition of NOGOF, we published a compendium of opportunities based on the presentation of opportunities that cut across all the streams of the oil and gas industry. It is gladdening to note that some of these opportunities have since progressed beyond the identification phase to the project implementation phase, and in some cases, the projects have been completed. For instance, the Shell HI gas project and the Bonga Main Life Extension project have since commenced. Similarly, the Naok Brass Tank 7 refurbishment project and the brass dullage system upgrade projects have also commenced and are currently both ongoing, while the Total Energies Ikike development project has since been completed and currently producing. In the midstream segment, the LNG Train 7 projects, as most of you are aware, is currently ongoing, as well as the AKK pipeline project, which the NNPC Limited is undertaking, is currently ongoing. We are happy with these success stories of how projects materialized from opportunities that were showcased at the NOGOF events. As a #1 MDA in the ease of doing business, I make bold to say that the board will continue to support ongoing projects and any new opportunities that will be identified from this opportunity fair in line with our service level agreement. I therefore implore all stakeholders to count on us to support the realization of their target opportunities. As an incurable optimist that I am, I look forward to the oil and gas industry truly fueling the industrialization of our nation by the time we hold the next NOGOF event, which of course I would have retired as the Executive Secretary of NCDMB then. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I once again, on behalf of my colleagues within NCDMB, the management and staff of NCDMB, welcome you all to Bayelsa and welcome you all to the Nigerian Content Towers. Please do enjoy yourself and have a great 2 days. Thank you.
On the tripod of increasing local content, creating wealth and opportunities, and creating jobs. That was a very, very robust opening address by none other than our junior host, the Executive Secretary of the NCDMB, Engineer Simbi KCA Wabote, FIPS, FNSE. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to beg your indulgence. Please give him another round of applause. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for providing strong leadership to the board. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to recognize the presence of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Ambassador Gabriel Aduda. Is represented by the Director of Planning, Research and Statistics, Mr. Musa Tali. Round of applause for him. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us today. We trust that you bring glad tidings from the Perm Secretary. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, also with us today is none other than the Executive Vice President, Upstream NNPC Limited, Mr. Muhammad Ahmed. Round of applause for him. While introducing the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, it was also important to mention that, yes, NNPC Limited is a platinum sponsor. So we'll do that differently this time. The Group CEO is here. The Executive Vice President Upstream is here. That is a high-powered delegation from NNPC Limited. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to beg your indulgence. Please give them a platinum sponsors round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for the show of support over the years. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I also have with us today none other than the Managing Director of SNEPCO, Mrs. Eloho Aiboni. Round of applause for her. A gold sponsors round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. It's an honor to have you with us today. You're most welcome at this event. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have a high-powered delegation from Chevron. Yes, I did say that, yes, Mr. Cosmas Uwaze, the Business Services Director, is representing the Chairman and MD of Chevron, Mr. Rick Kennedy. And yes, he's also joined by Mr. Brikin Esimaji and Mrs. Edwina Kentebe. Please give Chevron another round of applause. A platinum sponsors round of applause this time. Thank you very much. We appreciate all our sponsors. We recognize your support over the years, and we thank you for your show of support. Ladies and gentlemen, I also have the singular honor of recognizing With us today, the Managing Director and Chief Executive, Total E&P Nigeria Limited, Mr. Mike Sangster, is represented by none other than the Executive Director, Joint Venture Assets, Total E&P, Mr. Obi Imemba. Round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have the Managing Director, Shell Nigeria Gas Limited, Mr. Ed Ubong. Round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, he's over there. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us is also the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Coleman Technical Industries Limited, Mr. George Onofowokun. Round of applause for him. Please give him a sponsor's round of applause. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. I'd also like to recognize the presence of a high-powered delegation from Mobile. And yes, sitting at the top of that delegation is none other than Mrs. Chika Ikem Obi. She's representing ExxonMobil. Please give ExxonMobil a round of applause, a sponsor's round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have in our midst today the Managing Director of Tranos. I speak of none other than Mr. Jude Agbalaka. Round of applause. Please give Tranos a sponsor's round of applause. Thank you very much. And yes, representing Seplat, also one of our sponsors, we have Mr. Simeon Ogari. Please give Seplat a sponsor's round of applause. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being so kind and generous with your applause. I also have the singular honor of recognizing one of our speakers, yes, the Managing Director, Savannah Energy, Mr. Olakpade Durote. Round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have in the room with us the Managing Director, Hers Holdings Oil and Gas, Mr. Osayande Gehon. Round of applause for him. Don't be too tired to clap. It's still early in the day. Thank you very much. And I'm taking your time for that, but it's definitely necessary. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we also have the Chairman, Stars Marine, Engineer Chief Greg Ogbefe. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. It is an honor to have you with us today. You are most welcome. As we have more information, we will, of course, make that public. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind cooperation and for being generous with your round of applause. All right, we have a series of goodwill messages that will be delivered shortly. And yes, it is my singular honor to invite the first speaker who will be speaking to us. And yes, he'll be delivering that goodwill message. The Commission Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, FNSC, is represented by none other than the Executive Commissioner. NUPRC is also a member of the Governing Council of the NCDMB. Please make welcome for his goodwill message, Dr. Kelechi Ofuegbu. A round of applause, a platinum sponsors round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the protocols have been established. So I would go straight to bringing you the goodwill message from my Chief Executive, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, who cannot be here with us today because he's otherwise engaged in another critical national assignment. But permit me to say that even though the protocols have been established, let me pay tribute to big brothers that I have in the room, of course, starting with GCEO, Melekeri. Thank you so much, sir, for everything you've done to enable our growth and development as an industry. And of course, my big brother, Simbi Wabute. Simbi was my boss in Shell, and it's always good to learn and hear him speak. So it's a very tough act to follow after Simbi has spoken anywhere in the world, really. But we will always try. As they say, the young shall grow. So it is a great pleasure and honor for me to deliver this keynote speech to an esteemed audience of professionals and stakeholders in the Nigerian oil and gas industry, as well as our international counterparts. Nigerian oil and gas who are joining us at the 4th edition of the NOGOF, which is themed the oil and gas industry catalyst and fuel for the industrialization of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, and their partners, Jake Riley Limited, for hosting this event, which has over time created a platform to showcase investment opportunities in the Nigerian petroleum sector. May I also commend the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board for its efforts over the years in the implementation of policies focused on utilizing and promoting Nigeria's human and material resources, which have been pivotal in building capacity and sustaining the growth of the upstream oil and gas industry in Nigeria. Distinguished guests, you will agree with me that the PIA 2021 has enhanced the business landscape in Nigeria's petroleum industry as it has provided a transparent, efficient, and investment-friendly regulatory framework for the industry. This renewed disposition reflects the nation's readiness to attract local and international investors into the oil and gas space. In line with the provisions of the PIA, the Commission has developed priority regulations to reinforce meaning to the intent of the PIA, hence creating a predictable regulatory environment for would-be investors. So far, 5 priority regulations have been gazetted, while 13 others have been submitted to the Ministry of Justice for review, and 8 are at various stages of development. I make bold to say that even in the development of these priorities, ladies and gentlemen, we have tried to be as consultative as possible as a commission, in line with the provisions of Section 216 of the PIA, which mandates us to carry the industry and other stakeholders along in making those regulations. We have tried to reach out to every crevice, every stakeholder, and while we're still ironing out some areas of dissent, as it were, we make bold to say that majority of those regulations which will be churned out and those which have already been gazetted have benefited from the enriched conversations and interventions, inclusions of the industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, our role as major player, Nigeria, in the global oil and gas industry is certainly not in doubt, as we are currently the highest oil producer in Africa and the second highest in terms of the proven oil reserves, with a huge potential for growth. As of January 1st, 2023, Nigeria boasts of 36.966 billion barrels of oil and condensate reserves and 208.83 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserves, opening a large opportunity for investments in the upstream oil and gas sector. Distinguished participants, you will agree that despite the global clamor for decarbonization and energy transition, oil and gas remain relevant in the global oil energy mix to guarantee energy security for our teeming population. In order to deliver on her commitments towards reduction of carbon footprints, Nigeria has adopted gas as a transition fuel and expects to significantly increase gas consumption during the decade of gas declared by Mr. President, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. This adoption of natural gas as a transition fuel is a boost for Nigeria, as our gas reserves can be harnessed to help the country's transition to net zero by 2060, while driving economic development and growth, thereby simultaneously tackling energy poverty and meeting the climate ambition. Accordingly, the Commission has intensified efforts to grow gas reserves, boost production, and eliminate routine gas flares in all upstream operations across the value chain, while also dealing with methane capture and other fugitive gas emissions. The significance of this is that more gas will be available for domestic utilization as LPG, as feedstock for power generation plants, fertilizer plants, and petrochemicals, among others. Each of these areas shows that gas will be truly the catalyst and fuel for industrialization as well as provide unique entry points for willing investors and constitute opportunities to build capacity locally. The Commission, as the upstream petroleum industry regulator, has also embarked on the development of a regulatory framework for carbon pricing system to make businesses pay for their emissions and incentivize emissions reduction through carbon credits. Accordingly, a new department called Energy Transition and Carbon Monetization has been created in the Commission to coordinate the drive towards energy transition in the Nigerian oil and gas sector. The new department will drive the focused implementation of robust regulatory framework for decarbonization of upstream operations, introduce clean mechanisms in field development, mitigate impact of energy transition, and ensure sustained investments in upstream operations whilst improving the environment credentials of oil and gas in Nigeria. It is our hope that in months to come, we would be able to share the vital lessons from the Nigerian transition success story to the global community. Distinguished participants, let me say that the Commission, since inception, has concluded and commenced various initiatives and programs to create investment opportunities and enhance the development of the upstream oil and gas industry in Nigeria, notable amongst which are the completion of the 2020 marginal field bid round and award of the resulting petroleum prospecting licenses, the PPLs. Initiation of the ongoing 2022-2023 mini bid round for 7 deep offshore assets. And we've also recommenced and are on the verge of concluding the Nigerian gas flare commercialization program. Now, through those programs have been initiated and are ongoing, opportunities still exist for investors as NUPLC continues to implement strategic actions which are aimed at increasing national crude oil and gas reserves and production. In this regard, the Commission will, in the weeks ahead, organize its maiden Nigerian Upstream International Investment and Financial Roadshow for petroleum prospecting license awardees, NGFCP bidders, and potential investors in the upcoming mini bid for deep water assets to explore funding opportunities and leverage capabilities of industry players, prospective investors, local and offshore, to de-risk the assets and awards. This event will provide opportunity for participants to network, exchange ideas, and chart strategic pathways to enhance investment opportunities. I'll be speaking more about these opportunities tomorrow in my panel session, but suffice it to say that the Commission has realized that in spite of the myriad of opportunities, of course, some of which will be unveiled in the course of these events that exist in the oil and gas sector, maturation and crystallization of the opportunities remains a challenge. So you have different substrata of a demographic of, say, the investment community. So you have the awardees in one bucket, for instance. You have the financiers in another bucket. So the awardees have an award. We have awarded licenses, for instance, as a commission, and they're paper carrying licenses, and those licenses will remain needless. It will remain just mere paper if the opportunities that they represent are not crystallized. On the other hand, we have financiers that have deep pockets, and they have no line of sight to viable projects and viable partners, dependable partners that they can fund and bring those projects into maturation. And then we also have the service providers who have equipment, who have expertise, but probably lack the line of sight to awardees and other networks that they could deploy their services and equipment to because of other confidence and synergy issues. And lastly, we have carbon traders, traders who just by making their futures contracts, deals with the owners of these licenses, they can make projects bankable, but the line of sight to the people that they can do business with is also lacking. So the Commission has decided that in line with its commercial regulatory function, which has been enabled by the PIA, we will no longer be spectators in the affairs that concern oil and gas development in Nigeria. We will descend into the arena by regulating and bringing the parties together, giving them that confidence, that assurance that as regulator, we will first of all ensure that the players are fit and proper people that meet the character threshold to participate in the industry. And where this is found to be wanting, then of course, in line with the law, we will also not hesitate to deal with issues that arise in line with the law. We would make people realize that Nigeria, the opportunities that exist in country are real opportunities, but where bad behavior negates those opportunities from crystallization, then the regulator would descend into the arena and make the people who are undertaking that course of action understand that their bargaining positions are most unreasonable. In concluding, as we showcase Nigeria's vast potentials at this NOGOF, we look forward to engaging with potential investors that will collaborate with us in building partnerships and unlocking the full potential of Nigeria's upstream petroleum sector. We deem this opportunity in the Opportunity Fair not just as an opportunity for investments, but also as an opportunity to interact, as an opportunity to get feedback as a commission as to what indeed your commission could do better to help in maturing these opportunities, properly so called. So in the course of these engagements, please be assured that we will be listening and we will respond. I have my Chief Executive, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe's commitment to say that the regulator, your regulator, is open for business. So on his behalf, I welcome all of us to this NOGOF and hope that we have a most rewarding two-day experience. Thank you.
We will be listening and we will respond. We will hold you to your words, sir. We trust that you will respond. Thank you so much. We'd like to recognize the presence of Mr. Felix Lawrence, the Controller of Corrections, Rivers State Command, and he's representing the Honorable Minister of Interior. Please, a round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much. We also like to recognize the presence of Dr. Issa Omagu, and he's representing the MD/CEO of Bank of Industry in person of Mr. Peter. They are also associate sponsors. We'd like to appreciate them. Please put your hands together for them. It's important to, recognize your sponsors so that when you come to them next time, they will gladly oblige you. So thank you so much for sponsoring us, Bank of Industry. Our next goodwill message is by Engineer Farouk Ahmed, the Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, ably represented by Mr. Mansur Kulia, the Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund, in person of Mr. Mansur Kulia, as I said earlier. We also like to recognize you and appreciate you for sponsoring us as our bronze sponsor. Now, the gala night is something I'm looking forward to. So beyond the talks, somebody said, I just heard that sound now. So you're also looking forward to that also. So beyond the talks, there's going to be time for eating, drinking, networking, and also receiving awards. So they're sponsoring that. They are a bronze sponsor. So please put your hands together for them. So welcome upstage now, Mr. Mansur Kulia. Thank you so much, sir. And I trust that you keep to time, sir. Thank you. Please.
Thank you very much. Well, I think, like Dr. Kelechi, the protocol has already been established, but I don't need to repeat. However, I would still like to recognize the presence of Malam Mili Kolo Kyari, the Chief Executive Officer, Group Chief Executive Officer of the new NNPC Limited. Also, I must congratulate the Equity Secretary, Engineer Simbi Wabote, for this great occasion. I'll go straight to the speech of Engineer Farooq Ahmed. Distinguished guests, it is a great pleasure to be part of this year's Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair, NOGOF, being the first edition from inception. I congratulate the NCDB, stakeholders, and participants at this great event geared towards showcasing opportunities in upstream, midstream, and downstream sector of the petroleum industry. This event will provide opportunities for Nigerian companies to showcase their capabilities and ensure critical stakeholders in the sector and allied government agencies, as well as linkages industries, to build synergies in readiness to exploit the enormous advantages available in the oil and gas sector of the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's fair, Oil and Gas Industry Catalyst and Fuel for Industrialization in Nigeria, is very apt in that it's aligned with the policy thrust and directives principle of this administration. The federal government in 2021 passed into law the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA 2021, creating two technical and commercial regulatory agencies, that is the Commission and the Authority, to strengthen the regulation and creating the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. The MDPRA, as an agent of industrialization in Nigeria, has recently gazetted 12 regulations aimed at unlocking the enormous potential inherent in the midstream and downstream sector. Guidelines are already in place to ensure that potential investors, especially indigenous players, are provided much-needed critical support in their bid to exploit the opportunities across the midstream and downstream value chain. In fulfilling these ultimate objectives of government towards increased investment in the sector and the economic development of Nigeria, the authority has in recent times undertaken vigorous campaign to enlighten operators, stakeholders, and regulatory compliance and ensure safer operation in the sector. Stringent regulations are being evolved to restrict emission into the environment, while efforts are being made to implement and encourage operators and end users to transition to cleaner energy fuels. All these initiatives are in place even as we work consciously towards a full implementation of the administration and of the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund, which is one of the initiatives of the PIA. That will further help to unlock massive investment opportunities in gas and allied sector, and as implemented by the Petroleum Industry Act. Key to the multi-side objective of this grand event and as co-regulator, the NDPRA and NCDB are partners in endangering in-country capacities and the showcasing of opportunities, and additionally ensuring that the technical and legal framework provided by the PI are highlighted for potential investors, providing them the comfort to seek opportunities in the sector. This is in the continuous realization that the Nigerian oil and gas industry must continue to be responsive in catalyzing opportunities of all existing and other interested investors. The oil and gas sector continues to be pivotal to the Nigerian economy, accounting for more than 80% of the forex earnings of the country since inception of the oil exploration in the late 50s. As a result, every effort put in triggering investment opportunity in the sector must be supported and expanded in order to ensure the buoyancy of the national economy in supporting multi-sectoral growth, infrastructure development, youth employment, and general well-being of the country. That is why we are enthusiastically supporting this initiative by the NCDB, NCDMB, and will continue to do so in the future, because building indigenous capacity and encouraging in-country growth cannot be overemphasized, since this is the only sure way to sustainable industrialization and significant growth of Nigeria. As an institution, we have identified 5 pivotal areas as building blocks for the enhancement of indigenous participation and, by extension, to engender sustainable national growth. These are legal institutions, financial institutions, in-sector diversification, and indigenous capacities. Once we can strengthen these key areas, the future success of our economy will be assured. The Petroleum Industry Act 2021 has provided us with the legal framework to modify massive sectoral growth anchored on strong indigenous participation. So we are implementing the law. We are helping to unlock opportunities that will hopefully spur phenomenal stride in our collective quest to sustain national development. The law enhances clarity in legislative, regulatory, fiscal, and administrative framework. It also provides commercial framework that ensure efficiency, prudent management, financial stewardship, and operational excellence and in the midstream and downstream sectors. Equally, the concept of in-sector diversification aligns strongly with NCDB's initiative in promoting events such as this fair. Instinctively, economic diversification speaks our consciousness and deliberate attempt at expanding opportunities and the linkage into the areas of the economy and challenging our energies in creating value across multiple sectors of the national economy. In sector diversification, central to grow the industry from the oil, from an oil-based industry to an integrated oil and gas industry economy, where the raw materials momentarily is placed by country value addition. Indeed, an economy where the proceeds from oil and gas is used to stimulate industrialization with attendant positive impact on job creation, youth empowerment, and poverty eradication. We are looking forward to seeing these sort of outcomes at the end of this exploration. We cannot, in all honesty, move meaningfully towards diversification and the boosting of indigenous growth and capacities without first trying to change the narrative around the basis such as sustainable provision of our refined fuels through in-country refining of petroleum products. This is without a doubt a key priority for us and as a nation as we gradually edge towards full deregulation of the downstream sector. It is for this reason that we in the authority are sparing no effort in providing all necessary support as enshrined in the PIA to encourage all opportunities who indicate interest in establishing refining plants in the country. We are happy to reveal that some modest gains are being recorded in this respect in terms of development of refinery, petrochemical, gas-based industry, and allied infrastructure. As we anticipate the imminent launching of the Dangote refinery, we must also look forward to encouraging even more indigenous players to come on stream, even if the promoting of refineries of more modest capacities. Our country has no business importing petroleum products and must enable a sustainable environment for the rapid established processing plant across the country to boost these objectives. From forums such as this ones, where synergies, ideas, and collaboration can be evolved by forward-thinking participants to unleash the potential of our indigenous capacity across the value chain of the oil industry. As I close, I once again would like to thank the Executive Secretary of the Board, Engineer Simbi Wabote, and the entire management team in giving us the opportunity to participate in this event and to lend our support in this laudable objective of encouraging and industrializing the process of unlocking our indigenous capacities in oil and gas sector. This indeed is akin to fostering the backward integration of our national content requirement in Nigerians preeminent economic sector. We can always count on the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to support this and in any other initiative geared towards achieving our mutual goals and objective of strengthening this industry. Thank you very much.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Please permit me to adopt the already established protocol this morning. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dr. Bashir Yusuf Jamo, OFR, extends his warmest regards to every one of you present at this august occasion. He deeply regrets his inability to be here in person owing to some crucial official exigencies. He has therefore asked me to tender his apology and equally deliver his goodwill message. And here goes. It gives me great pleasure to be invited to this 2023 edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair, not only as a participant, but also to deliver a goodwill message. This year's fair with the theme, the oil and gas industry, catalyst and fuel for the industrialization of Nigeria, presents yet another opportunity for critical industry players to exchange ideas and explore policy thoughts aimed at fully harnessing the immense natural resources with which our country is so graciously endowed. As we all know, oil was the most important resource of the last century because it was cheaper and more efficient than other sources of energy. It accelerated global production and reshaped networks by allowing faster transportation and made it easy for ships to stay longer at sea, move faster and further. Thus began the industrialization of that era. Distinguished participants, we all know that oil and gas are major internationally traded commodities. They remain the major sources of energy throughout the world, as both combined provide over half the world's energy. Although there have been renewable and sustainable energy initiatives in recent times, none of them has yet been able to contribute a significant amount of energy to the world because they are either expensive or oftentimes unreliable. The oil and gas also has both direct and indirect consequences on domestic economy and are incredibly important for stimulating economic growth and positioning a country among the Committee of Nations. The role of oil and gas in Nigeria's economy is quite significant because it constitutes over 95% of our export revenue. Nigeria, therefore, remains the leading oil exporting country in Africa. And the oil production funds numerous multi-billion-dollar investments in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, it is the mainstay of our economy, as the government finances almost all developing sectors using revenue from oil production. The industrial growth and development the country has witnessed thus far is greatly attributable to the oil and gas sector. Distinguished participants, the industrialization of our nation is largely dependent on the strength and health of the oil and gas sector and the transport sector, especially the maritime sector, through which these products are largely transported. We as a nation must therefore initiate policies that will optimize the benefits of producing these resources at reduced costs and put in place strategies for refining crude in country and marketing same for optimal benefit. It is important to note that domestic oil and gas production up to refining in country is required for energy independence, to conserve foreign exchange and hopefully earn more foreign exchange, not only from exportation of the crude, but also from export of refined products. That is why I'm sure all industry players and stakeholders are looking forward to the commissioning of the Dangote refinery. But then it is not enough. Much is yet required. We therefore believe that there should also be targeted efforts at developing the maritime sector to ensure fleet expansion, which will ensure that our indigenous operators participate fully in the affreightment of both the crude oil, gas, and the refined products. It is also recommended that the terms of trade of freighting of these products should be reviewed to create opportunities for rapid growth for the Nigerian tanker trade. We appreciate the efforts of Nigerian Content Development and Management Board at growing the indigenous maritime sector. We appreciate the proposed brass shipyard, which will go a long way into helping the ship owners be able to dry dock their vessels in country. We at NIMASA would continue to strive towards the development of the maritime sector by pursuing policies aimed at enhancing indigenous capacity and positioning them for greater participation in the affreightment of cargo. This would in turn impact our fleet expansion. Please, I want to reiterate that we must create a suitable and sustainable business and investment environment that will afford indigenous operators opportunities to participate in the oil and gas industry with a view to accelerating Nigeria's income and in turn impacting our GDP. Let me conclude by saying that I have no doubt that with the assemblage of quality participants here today, comprising policymakers, captains of industry, and the beneficiaries of the oil and gas industry, this year's fair will come up with resolutions to further strengthen the oil and gas sector towards the desired sustainable industrialization of our dear country, Nigeria. On behalf of the governing board, executive management, and staff of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, I congratulate NCDNB on this edition of the NOGOF and wish you all a very fruitful deliberation. Thank you for listening and for your attention. Thank you.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that yes, NIMASA is indeed a critical success factor and major player in ensuring the growth, advancement, and development of the oil and gas industry. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the goodwill message delivered by the Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo. And yes, he was represented by none other than Director Capitage Services, Rita Uragba. Allow me to beg your indulgence. Please give her another round of applause. Thank you very much, ma'am. Please extend our warm regards to the DG of NIMASA. Very, very quickly, I want to recognize once again the Executive Vice President in charge of Gas, Power, and New Energy, NNPC Limited, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed. A round of applause for him. Thank you, sir. He's been sitting warmly and drinking in everything that's been said at this event. Thank you very much, sir. It is an honor to have you with us today, and yes, you are most welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we still have another goodwill message to be delivered, and yes, it is a goodwill message to come in quick succession after all the others. The Chairman and Managing Director, Chevron Nigeria Limited, Mr. Richard Kennedy, will be represented by none other than Director of Business Services, Mr. Cosmas Iwezi. A round of applause for him as he takes the stage. Please keep the applause coming until he gets on stage. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. All protocols observed, but I will be failing on my duties if I don't recognize our senior partners who are here today. And led by the GCEO of an NPCL, Malam Mele Kiari. Welcome, sir. And of course, following him is my good friend who we work with closely, Mr. Bala Wunti, the CUIO of NIMS. Welcome, sir. And then I can't forget recognizing our chief host, my dear friend, Simbi Wabote. On behalf of Rick Kennedy, the chairman and managing director of Chevron Nigeria Limited, who is unavoidably absent here today, I want to thank the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board for the invitation to participate at this fair. The theme of this year's event, the oil and gas industry, catalyst and fuel for industrialization of Nigeria, is very, very apt. It presents an opportunity to offer some thoughts on how we all can continue to activate or actively participate in Nigeria's economic development and build a secure energy future for the country. We have plenty of opportunities, and you agree with me on that. Nigeria is endowed with large hydrocarbon reserves, including abundant gas resources. The country is also blessed with a large population of young, talented human resources, assuring a skilled and innovative workforce well into the future. Chevron believes that reliable, affordable, and ever cleaner energy is a fundamental building block of any economy and vital to assuring quality of life for all people. Also, we believe that natural gas is important fuel, which will play a critical role as the world seeks to lower its overall carbon footprint and achieve steady industrialization. We continue to enhance gas utilization in Nigeria with a focus on areas with notable multiplier effect, such as power generation to stimulate the growth of manufacturing sector of the economy, in which we have signed a gas sales and aggregation agreement with Ebwin Power PLC and Oloroshogo Generation Company Limited. Fertilizers for local consumption to support large-scale agriculture for export and local consumption, in which we have also signed a GSAA with Dangote Fertilizer Limited. These are all creating value. Chevron continues to make notable contributions to the gross domestic product of Nigeria through all these efforts. The opportunity is in supporting efforts to further unlock the world's energy resources, to sustain and where opportunities exist, grow up our production in an efficient, responsible, and cost-effective manner. As Chevron, we've done a lot and made a lot of commitment, and we've done a lot to support the Nigerian content development. As an international energy company, Chevron continues to build mutually beneficial partnerships and support of the policies of government of Nigeria, especially the Nigerian Content Development Board. Chevron is one of the IOCs that had a local content policy before the Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Act of 2010 was passed. And we have remained committed to this whole effort. We have remained committed to the objectives of the Act, working closely with the NCDMB to significantly grow Nigerian content in the oil and gas industry. Since the 1990s, Chevron has implemented strategies for training, capacity building, and employment of Nigerians. The overall objective of Chevron Nigeria Content Strategy is to encourage the participation of Nigerian companies in the oil and gas industry through the deliberate creation of business opportunities for Nigerian service providers and suppliers. We are driven by a policy to foster competence and competitiveness among the Nigerian indigenous contractors and suppliers. We have helped in building the capacities of several Nigerian businesses by allocating substantial scopes of all our projects to Nigerian companies. For the last 10 years, Chevron Nigeria Limited has spent an estimated annual average of $1 billion on Nigerian suppliers and service providers. Chevron also provides support and collaboration on research and development to indigenous companies. This has helped Nigerians to benefit from the oil and gas industry while developing Nigerian commerce. A good example is the support for the local barite mining industry through a donation of barite mining equipment worth about 1.4 million US dollars. Also, we are involved in training and providing training to the Association of Miners and Producers of Barite to boost the supply and quality of local barite, thereby reducing importation of barite and create jobs for the local communities. Other companies have also been supported in providing several engineering, procurement, fabrication, marine training services also locally. We've done a lot of work in that space as well. Chevron is also helping to grow the Nigerian economy by contributing to the development of communities in the areas of our operations. In the last 16 years, for example, through our Global Memorandum of Understanding, we have local communities in which we have with all the local communities in all areas. We spend billions of naira on various projects and programs in these communities. Also, through our local community contractors' standard operating procedure, we have built the capacity of local community contractors to become active service providers, not just in the industries, in the oil and gas industries, but other industries. A good example is in the marine industry. We do all this, not just because it's required by law, but we believe it is the right thing to do. In conclusion, Chevron has been making significant investments in Nigeria for over 60 years. Opportunities in the oil and gas industry, broad and varied as they are, could be harnessed to engender economic development with the appropriate government legislations, policies, and regulations. Chevron will continue in this commitment to the NOGOF Act of 2010 as part of its support for local capacity building. We will continue to help build the capacities of our local contractors and Nigerian businesses in general. And for us to do this, this is all part to support the Nigerian content policy of the federal government of Nigeria. Once again, let me thank the NCDMB for organizing this fair and for being more than a regulator and for playing a very supportive role to see to the growth of the industry. On behalf of Rick Kennedy, let me once more thank my friend, Simbi Wabote. You have done well. And thanks to the board.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cosmos, for representing Mr. Richard Kennedy, Chairman and Managing Director, Chevron Nigeria Limited. We'd like to recognize the presence of Mr. Julius Rone. He's the MD CEO of UTM Limited. Going further with our goodwill messages, we have lots of goodwill messages today. We would like to please welcome upstage Mr. Felix Lawrence, the Controller of Corrections Command, and he's representing the Honorable Minister of Interior. He has a speech, and he'll bring it up now. Thank you. Please applaud him, please. Thank you, sir. Am I allowed to do that? Sean, you have to release me if I go.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Bayelsa State, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. On behalf of the Honorable Minister of Interior, Alhaji Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, I, Controller Felix Lawrence, is privileged this morning before you all to address and read the goodwill message of the Honorable Minister of Interior. It is tagged, Takes Ownership and Domesticates. It gives me a great pleasure to be at this very important occasion. I would therefore like to thank the leadership of Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board for the kind invitation to be at the 2023 edition of the Nigerian Oil and Gas Opportunity Fair. We all know the importance of petroleum resources in Nigeria In 2022, oil constitutes 80% of all exports. Indeed, it contributes 9% of the entire GDP. Our economy runs on oil to power vehicles, generators, heavy industry machineries. Oil is also a major employer of labor, directly or indirectly, providing jobs for millions of Nigerians in exploration and extractions, refining, transportation, and marketing. In spite of the advances in electronic or electric motor vehicles, oil is still going to be a dominant player in the global economy, at least in the next 50 years. In Nigeria, new deposits are being discovered and more will still be discovered in the foreseeable future, making oil not only relevant, but the dominant player in the nation's economy. Sadly, we have not gone far in the domestication and ownership of this major industry, and we have not been able to leverage on it for industrialization or have the quantum to leap in economic developments that oil should have brought. In spite of all the effort of the government, the sector is still dominated by foreign firms in exploration and extraction and in refining. With Nigeria being peripheral player in service and marketing, the bulk of the refined petroleum products, including lubricants, we consume in Nigeria is now imported with the value added chain. The time has come for Nigerian stakeholders in the oil industry to begin to take ownership, domesticate every aspect of the industry with technology and the requisite knowledge base. Our indigenous companies should begin to invest in acquisition, technology processing, and research in all aspects of petroleum. The research institute should be well funded, not by government alone, but by other stakeholders as well, on how to generate the knowledge base and create or adapt existing technology to our specific needs in the industry, in the oil industry. We should get off the dependency syndrome. Yes, we welcome foreign players, we want more investors, but we should be in the driver's seat because it is our game. We should not only take our own destiny in our hands, we should dominate the oil and gas industry in sub-Saharan Africa. We should be able to supply refined petroleum products to our immediate neighbors and other African countries. We should also leverage on gas to produce electricity for domestic consumption and exports. We will be making 10 times revenue on finished product than on primary products, which will create more wealth and prosperity for the nation. Lastly, as the world begins a transition to electric motor vehicles, we should also begin to plan for the alternative use for oil in a way that will not disrupt our economy and well-being of the people. When the day eventually arrives that motor vehicle no longer uses fuel, we should be able to have another alternative. Once again, I want to thank you for inviting me as I wish you a successful fair. I thank you all for your kind attention. That's the message.
Our next speaker for the goodwill message is a man who is overseeing a company that we can say have institutional memory in the oil and gas industry. And incidentally, they started their exploration formally right here in Bayelsa, just a couple of minutes drive from this corporate headquarters. I would like to invite to come up stage the country chair, Shell Companies in Nigeria, and the managing director of SPDC, Osage Okumbo. Please, a round of applause for him.
The Executive Governor of Bayelsa State, represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Mineral Resources, distinguished hosts, the ES of the NCDMB, my good friend and GCU of NNPCL, Malam Mele Kolokiari, leaders of our two main regulatory bodies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As the GCU always say, let me sit or sweep aside existing protocol. But let me please rest on existing protocol. It gives me great pleasure to be here today, to be part of this momentous event. Shell comes here with a very strong delegation, as you heard earlier in the introductions. I'm here with my colleague, the managing director of our deepwater business, SNEPCO, Mrs. Eloho Iboni. I'm also here with the managing director of our domestic gas business, Edubong. That underlines how important we see this opportunity fair, that we are all out here. I want to thank one of our best experts from Shell, Engineer Wabote, for what you have done through the years, resting on the great effort that Boagu started to make this agency, the NCDMB, one that as a country we can be proud of. I want to thank you for the professional way you have run this agency. It's always very gratifying, yes, to see your data-based report out of what you do. In Uyo last year, I was privileged to just listen to you essentially lay out what your plans were for, since you actually assumed the agency, and step by step, stage by stage, how you are essentially delivering on this mandate. So it's not at all a surprise that you are ranked as the #1 MDA. So I want to really congratulate you. I know you are not doing this alone. I think you have a very strong and credible board with you. So I want to indeed thank all of you. In a short while, I will have the opportunity on behalf of the Shell companies to provide information on the key projects we have in the pipeline, which I believe is the main essence of this opportunity fair, so that we can rub minds with co-players in the industry, and thankfully also have our GCO here with a very strong delegation from NNPC as well, because they are indeed a key player to ensuring, alongside with our regulatory bodies, that we deliver on these projects. So I'm actually a very big fan of these opportunity fairs because it provides that unique opportunity. So I am looking forward, together with my team from Shell, to being active participants of this fair over the next 2 days, because I believe together we can actually bring our industry back to the enviable position it's always been, despite the blips of the past couple of years. And this is one of the critical steps in that journey. So again, on behalf of the shell companies in Nigeria, I want to welcome everyone to this occasion, and let's look forward to a great couple of days. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Osage Okumbor. He is the country chair, Shell Companies in Nigeria, and the MD, SPDC. It is indeed about togetherness and learning from each other. Please, another round of applause for him, please. Thank you, sir. We'd like to recognize the presence of Mazi Sam Onyechi. He is the president of Oil and Gas Trainers Association, Octan. Are you in here, sir? Thank you. It is time for the industry address, and it will be given by Malamele Kolo Keyari. He is the Group Chief Executive Officer of the great NNPC. But before he comes up, we have a video for you. Please watch your screen.
With the passage of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, a stronger NNPC Limited emerged, strengthening its position as the #1 crude oil producer and supplier in Africa. Across the entire spectrum of the energy value chain, NNPC Limited has recorded remarkable growth in the past year. To achieve our mandate of growing Nigeria's crude oil reserves, NNPC Limited expanded her hydrocarbon exploration footprints to Nigeria's frontier basins with the successful drilling of the Kolmani River 1 and 2 wells. This is expected to prove up 1 billion barrels of crude oil and 500 billion cubic feet of gas. With the successful spud-in of Ebeni A in Obi local government area in Nasarawa State, Nigeria's oil reserve is expected to grow from 37 billion to a remarkable 50 billion barrels. We continue to record significant improvement in production as more wells and associated surface facilities shut down owing to incessant theft and vandalism are being reopened. This was made possible with the successful launch of the NNPC Limited Command and Control Center, deployed to track all crude oil lading vessel movements, and the launch of the Stop Crude Theft app, meant to validate crude oil sales documentation to stem the purchase of stolen crude oil. Over the last couple of months, NNPC Limited has also recorded tremendous recovery of gas volumes, contributing up to 7 billion cubic feet to national daily gas production. In our downstream business unit, we are currently embarking on the rehabilitation of the nation's key downstream infrastructure, which include the nation's 4 brownfield refineries, with a combined capacity of 445,000 barrels per day, with 22 depots, 25 pump stations, jetties, and over 5,000 kilometers of pipeline work. In addition, NNPC Limited is also adding new assets to its downstream portfolio. This is demonstrated by the acquisition of OVH, adding over 380 retail stations to our network, a 240,000 metric ton capacity per annum jetty, 3 lubes blending plants, 3 aviation depots, 8 LPG plants, 38 LPG skids, and 12 warehouses to consolidate our retail footprint. This unprecedented expansion has placed our retail business on a new map as Africa's largest downstream company. We offer investment opportunities that guarantee positive returns across the energy value chain. Driving our transition to net zero with low carbon energy resources, we have recorded tremendous achievement in our in-country gas transmission infrastructure to grow our domestic market and support regional integration. Having the 10th largest proven gas reserves in the world, we boast over 1,900 kilometers of backbone gas transmission infrastructure, with an existing in-country gas infrastructure transmission capacity of 6.9 billion cubic feet per day. Our expansion of domestic gas infrastructure is aimed at supporting Nigeria's economic recovery and growth plan by building in flexibilities to enable investors explore Nigeria's diverse markets while providing the needed corridor to supply natural gas to African regional markets and into Europe through the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. Known as the African Atlantic Gas Pipeline, AAGP has a pipeline capacity of 3 billion standard cubic feet of gas per day with an approximate length of about 7,000 kilometers, mostly offshore. NNPC Limited is also undertaking the Trans-Sahara Gas Pipeline project on behalf of the Nigerian government. The 48 to 56-inch line spanning 4,400 kilometers with a planned capacity to transport 2 to 4 billion standard cubic feet of natural gas per day consists of pipeline segments of 1,037 kilometers in Nigeria, 841 kilometers in Niger, 2,302 kilometers across Algeria, and 220 kilometers sub-sea, linking to Europe. The project is for the purpose of supplying Nigerian gas to the European gas market with provisions for offtake along the countries. From engineering, procurement and construction, project financing and gas offtake, more investment is needed to address energy poverty across developing nations. With our huge hydrocarbon resources and growing interest in new energy, NNPC Limited is positioned to improve access to energy while minimizing its carbon footprint. Join NNPC Limited today to invest in guaranteeing global energy security for today and the future. Take an early bird advantage and secure the right to play in Africa's largest market today. Visit our website www.nnpcgroup.com and our exhibition stand to explore a business with endless opportunities.
A round of applause for NNPC. Aren't you proud to be a Nigerian? Please put your hands together. Let's celebrate our own. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up stage Malam Mele Kolo Keyari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC. Please put your hands together for him.
So, thank you very much. Very good afternoon, all. And my younger brother, data doesn't lie. He was contesting that he couldn't have been my younger brother, so he checked the internet. There's a difference between 65 and 68. So definitely, we're very proud of you, my younger brother, and he has done great, enormous. Your contributions cannot be measured. I've been around, 33rd year in NNPC, been around the industry, and I haven't seen the scale of contribution one individual will make in such a short period of time. And congratulations. And secondly, data doesn't lie also. Before the start of this program, and then there was a questionnaire that was sent out, and I carefully looked at it. Only 11 people want to listen to any speech here, so I'm not going to talk more. It means that all of us haven't been respecting the wishes of our customers. So our customers said they don't want to hear too much grammar. So let's leave the PowerPoint and come and act. And for this industry must focus on gas. And that's what we are doing. And that's where we expect all our partners to join us so that we can expand the gas footprint in our country. Therefore, we will succeed in creating the industrialization that we're all looking forward to. So that means the only way this industry can become the catalyst and fuel for that is to build gas. And we're focused on domestic gas, as we also look for money from gas that can go to other countries. Secondly, everybody's talking about domestic refining. You have seen what we are doing, so we don't talk about it. We're not tired of lamenting. When we deliver, you will see. And of course, the Dangote refinery that will come up next week, we want 20% of this. We saw the strategic interest in doing this, and we took equity in it. And not only that, we'll be supplying 300,000 barrels of Nigerian crude to the Dangote refinery as NNPC. That's a marketing opportunity for us. And for this industry, there's one big challenge, which is security in the Niger Delta region. We have risen to the challenge with our partners, with the government security agencies. It's paying off. We moved away from production last year down to close to 1.1 million barrels of both crude oil and condensate combined. That in March, we were able to hit 1.67. We had some operational issues in the last 2 to 3 weeks. But we know that we'll achieve our objective of recovering the production. Then people can come back and put their money into new ventures. No one is putting money now. And the reason is very simple. No one is going to produce oil for somebody who didn't contribute. This is just the reality. And that's why people will say nice things. Even my friend, Chairman Osage will say nice things. But nobody's going to put his money except we guarantee. That's why we took the frontal position and decided that we'll contend this security situation. And I'm very happy of what we have succeeded in doing with my team, with the government security agencies, and this is paying off. And lastly, there's clear connection between energy and prosperity. Every conversation around climate change, energy transition, it all boils down to providing a clean source of energy. And there's no country that has developed without energy. Industrialization is really about industries. No industry works without energy. Therefore, we will address the energy question so that the industrialization can come in our country, prosperity will come in our country, and this industry is in a very, very vintage position to deliver this. And as we look at the GDP numbers, my younger brother's data around GDP contribution, yes, it looks small in terms of GDP, but the reality is that 48% of all revenues that is available to all tiers of government comes from the oil and gas industry. This is a combination of the collections by the FRS, the NURPC, the authority, and also the NNPC's share of this contribution. Pull them together, every infrastructure you see around in this country that is done by any state, any subnational, is coming, 48% of it is contributed by this industry. So this industry is in a very, very great position to support the growth and prosperity of this country. And lastly, thank you very much.
All right. If there was anyone in this room who was not caught by surprise by that last stunt, you'd need a place in Mars. Ladies and gentlemen, very, very interesting remarks. And yes, that was the Group Chief Executive Officer, NNPC Limited, Malam Mele Kolo Kiari. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for being able to manage that transition. And yes, we are indeed proud of what the NNPC Limited is doing. Thank you very much, sir, for providing strong leadership to NNPC. Thank you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just before we take some words from the representative of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, I want to quickly recognize the delegation from Nigeria LNG Limited. The Managing Director, and LNG, Dr. Philip Mshebila, is represented by none other than the General Manager, Corporate Services, Mr. Joseph Alauga. A round of applause for him. Thank you, sir. We trust that you bring glad tidings from MD of NLNG. And also we have a member of the Board of Directors with us of NLNG, Engineer Rabiu Suleiman. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're most welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember this is an event that occurs every 2 years. And yes, without the support of our sponsors and partners, we will not be able to come to this gathering every 2 years. So we want to take our time to recognize and appreciate all of our sponsors. Because it is a long list, we will have a round of applause at the end of my presentation. But if you are generous enough and you want to insert that round of applause intermittently, that is also fine. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to appreciate all of our sponsors for NOGOF 2023. And yes, in the platinum category, we have Chevron Nigeria Limited, we have NNPC Limited, and we have NUPRC. A round of applause for them. A platinum round of applause. In the gold category, we have Coleman Cables and Wires. We also have Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company, SNEP. A round of applause for them, ladies and gentlemen. A gold round of applause. I love the energy in the room. We're getting there. In the silver category, ladies and gentlemen, we have First E&P. We also have Tranos, and we have Oilserve Limited. A round of applause for them. A silver round of applause. I love the energy in the room. We're getting there. Sponsoring the gala tonight is NMDPRA, and that is the bronze category. Also in the same bronze category, we have Green Energy. We also have Daewoo E&C, and yes, we have ExxonMobil. A bronze round of applause for all of them in that category. I love the energy in the room. Up next, associate category. In the associate category, we have Asharami Energy Limited, Oriental Global Energy, and Bank of Industry. An associate sponsors, round of applause for all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We also have Caverton Helicopters. A round of applause for Caverton Helicopters. We also have Savannah Energy sponsoring the lunch. A round of applause for Savannah Energy. We also have Seplat Energy PLC, Niger Delta E&P, and we have Nigeria LNG Limited and Petan. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for all of them. So yes, this is the full round of applause for all of our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3, go. Round of applause for all of our sponsors. Thank you very much. I love the energy in the room. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We appreciate and we thank all of our sponsors. Thank you for your show of support and your encouragement. This would not have been possible without you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we will be taking words from the representative of the Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Ambassador Gabriel Aduda. Please make welcome the Director in charge of PRS, Mr. Musa Tali. Round of applause for him as he takes the stage. Please keep the applause coming until he gets on stage. We just take words from him. Thank you, sir. We trust that we bring glad tidings from the Permanent Secretary.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me also stand on the existing protocol. I am not here with the keynote address of the Permanent Secretary. Up to 7:30 a.m. this morning, he was prepared to come along with us to be part of this engagement. Unfortunately, he was asked to stay behind for another national important engagement. You know, we are at the time of transition. So, and we are at the airport waiting for him till the time when the flight was about to take off. He called to say that he will not be able to come, but we should go ahead to be here with you. And at that stage, his keynote address was not transmitted to me. I also have, as part of his word, that I should inform the Executive Secretary, NCDMB, that the ministry is very proud of him. The hard work he has been putting, the good leadership he has been giving to NCDMB, the ministry, and the entire Nigerians are very proud of him, and will continue to give him all the support and the assistance he deserves to continue to make NCDMB to be more progressive in nature. He also asked me to tell all the sponsors and the organizers that he wished them well and hope the 2 days engagement is going to be very, very successful. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. As a representative of the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mr. Musa Tali, Director PRS, please a round of applause for him. I know if we ask him, he will say he accepts the assets but not the liabilities of coming to represent the Permanent Secretary. Thank you so much, sir. And I agree with you, the Group CEO of NNPC, there's a difference between 68 and 65. You see that 3 years, it makes all the difference. It gives you bragging rights, and it gives you, if your siblings, it gives you the knocking rights too. Thank you. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please we'll have the code again on the screen, the Hoover code 2EP ETLK 7YB, please. 2EP ETLK 7YB. Can we have it on the screen, please? Just briefly. Thank you. I believe some people haven't gotten it, so please. All right, it's on the screen now. Thank you so much. So for those of us who are yet to get it, please do so. Thank you so much. And just before I invite our next speaker, I would like to recognize the chairman of Doman Long Engineering Limited, Mr. Timi Austin Peters. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. And while we were in the middle of today's event, I saw Mr. Balawunti coming. There's a Chief Upstream Investment Officer, NNPCL. Thank you so much, sir. You're sitting as cool as a cucumber. Please, a round of applause for him. And on this particular occasion, he's not just here in his capacity, he's also representing Engineer Dokie Tombomiaye, Executive Vice President Upstream of NNPC Limited. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you. May I now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, invite a man who is translating the dream of the Prosperity Administration in the oil and gas industry. But before I do that, please grab your pads. It's time to participate again. If you have forgotten where the pads are, please search them out. Thank you. Grab your pads as we take another quiz. There's a second one. The question is, what is the biggest achievement of NOGOF over the years? What is the biggest achievement of NOGOF over the years? All right, we should be done. The answers should be coming up on the screen shortly. Statistics do not lie, according to the Group CEO of NNPC. All right, created awareness of industry opportunities. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Please, a round of applause for yourselves for participating. It's one thing for us to call the questions and another for you to willingly participate. We appreciate your cooperation. May I now invite the man who is translating the vision of the Prosperity Administration in the mineral sector. He is a man who himself has, over the years, made a firm commitment to not just better the lives of those around him, but of course, better the lives of those in Bayelsa State. He is representing here His Excellency, Distinguished Senator Doye Diri, the Honorable Commissioner for Mineral Resources, Dr. Ebieri Jones. Please put your hands together for him. For years, he was in the money counting industry, and now he's in the mineral supervising industry. Please put your hands together for him.
I want to appreciate this time. We are not so good in protocols, but I will still do that. I want to appreciate our brother, my own brother. We are from the same local government, Simbi Wabote, for what he's doing and his board. The group MD of NNPC, the Minister of Internal Affairs, the MD of Shell SPDC. And at this point, please allow me to observe other protocols. Well, when the MD of NNPC came, he said that he would not waste time because it was only 11% of the people that wanted to listen to goodwill messages. In following that line, I will just ask the remaining 89% to go out. Let the 11% listen to me. Well, this morning, I was called by the Deputy Governor to come and represent His Excellency. He was to come, but something urgent came. And I want to bring you greetings from His Excellency, the Governor, who is out on official assignment. He said I should welcome you, that this is a hospitable place. And we are sure that you're enjoying your stay in Bayelsa. If you are not enjoying, after now, as I'm going out, you follow me, and I'll give you a lot of fresh fish to eat. Well, we want to still, or I want to still appreciate Wabote for what he's doing in the state, particularly for the Library Museum and for other investments that are taking place in brass. It is indeed a delight that these things are going on, because at the end of the day, it will enhance the growth of the state economy. We as government, it is so unfortunate that the PIA itself did not recognize the role of the state government. The authorities are only saying it will be there in the regulations. I don't know whether the regulation is more superior to the act itself. But as a state government, we are ensuring that we provide a conducive environment for the operators in the oil and gas industry. And that is why the Prosperity Administration, when we came on board, we've done 2 youth programs. And those youth programs are tailored towards ensuring that they understand the need of collaboration, the need to collaborate with the oil companies. Because without that, there can never be prosperity. We all know that the oil industry is the major focus of the economy. It is very unfortunate that our country is a monoproduct economy. And that is why we decided to do that. And if you've been following the statistics, you will find out that if you compare 6 years, 3 years in tranches, you find out that the last 3 years, there has been a lot of peace in Bayelsa than the penultimate 3 years. And that is because of the effort that the state governor, His Excellency Senator Doye Idiri, is doing. For companies like SPDC, they can attest to that indeed, in the last 3 years, there has been peace, and even the oil services companies. I was thinking you clap to that. We also want to appreciate the government, the federal government, and the National Assembly for the Petroleum Industry Act. However, the act is skewed in a way that people from the Niger Delta are unhappy. That it is only 3% of overheads that can be allocated to oil-producing companies, while a whopping 30% of NNPC profits on oil and gas will be going for the exploration of frontier basin areas. Sometimes we wonder if that could happen. Well, before I go further, anything I say that is good is for His Excellency the Governor, and anyone that is bad, I take personal responsibility. Because why I'm saying that, like my sister said, after leaving banking industry, I went into lecturing. And from lecturing, I came to politics. So as a lecturer, we are radical. We talk the way we want. If you don't like it, you can go to court. There are a lot of issues that my brother Simbi Wabute mentioned in terms of opportunities, policy opportunities, investment opportunities, infrastructure opportunities, and all the opportunities we can talk of. But we should know that the country, the population of the country, is growing at a rate close to 3%, if my data is still right. And whatever opportunities we have, we shall ensure that it is tailored towards meeting the energy needs of the people. And why am I saying that? NNPC, recently, Tuesday last week, I got a call from His Royal Majesty, my chairman, I still call him chairman, between Banigo of Okoma, that there is a gas leak. And when I heard it, first of all, I was thinking of who is the operator. But somehow, I thought of that it must be NNPC Exploration and Production that is the asset owner. Well, I'm having the number of the MD. I called him severally, he did not pick. But I'm not saying I'm reporting you anyway. If you say I'm reporting you, since you said you are born in 1965, I'm also born in 1965. Maybe by months, I will be your senior. Okay, that is just a joke. Well, why we are mentioning it as a government is that a spill occurred. I called my friend, Engineer Yami, who is on the downstream, the EVP, on the EVP downstream, and he responded swiftly. I want to appreciate that man. We should have people like that in government. And on Thursday, the company, reps of the company came, also invited the community. And on Friday, they went there and do whatever thing they need to do. But one thing baffled me, that those Christmas trees were installed in 1966, just 1 year after Mele Kyari was born. And I wonder how assets like that will not be maintained. If we're talking about opportunities of infrastructure, after over 60 years, do we as a country have pipeline companies that are producing pipelines for transportation? Do we have it? It is easy for us to talk, but these are salient things that we should look at. The other day, a senior son was saying that Nigeria should receive its oil exports in Naira. I was saying, is this man thinking? Why will it be in Naira? What is the power of our currency? I can go on and on. For the other 89%, please, I'm sorry, because as lecturers sometimes, you are just invoking my lecturing spirit to talk. So these are the things we should, as government, particularly the NNPC, and the other exploration companies, ensure the safety of our environment. If our environment is not safe, the first thing the people will do is to revolt. If you know the quantum of work we are doing for you, you always come for collaboration. Even in our youth programs, we write to companies like SPDC, Chevron, Ajib. The question they asked, under what overhead do we put this? Under what overhead do you put this? For something that will ensure that you talk to the youths so that they will not disturb your operations. Now, talking about the PIA again, sorry, I don't have any written thing. Everything I'm saying is something that I've experienced while in the industry. I know that the implementation program is still going on, but it's taking a lot of time. Did we not plan as a country that the PIA will come to be? For how long are we going to implement, particularly on the host community development trust funds? Up till now, it is only SPDC that has written a letter to me that by Tuesday they will be inaugurating some of the BOTs. We think as government it is slow. We think as government it is slow because you have deprived those little developmental issues that the communities are. Doing. Then lastly, when we look at the industry, most of the youths in Bayelsa are unemployed. I was talking with Simbi, my brother, that is there no training center in this place? He said there is. If there is, I want to charge all the oil companies to synergize and ensure that that training institute is operational. It is by so doing, we as government, we can also tell the youth that, look, that place you are going to, that is the oil industry that is making it possible, so that their conscience will also tell them that the companies are trying. But above all, we are in an environment where the terrain is bad. As good corporate citizens, please ensure that you collaborate with the government of the day, the prosperity administration, synergize and fast-track the development of our state. Particularly, the major thing that His Excellency the Governor is doing now is to ensure that there is road to all our 3 senatorial districts. One has been achieved, but only to the local government headquarters. That is to Ekerema. And from there is also plan to take the road to Age by the sea. Then the one on the eastern side, there is already road to Nembe. I think NNPC was also part of it, I think so. And now there is a road that is going on from Nembe to Brass. If you go there, you'll pity the state. That the depth of the road, the depth that they are digging before sand filling is up to 3 or more meters, the depth, which is about 9 to 12 feet, depth before they will sand fill. It's a terrain that is very difficult to develop. And another one to the southern Niger side, that is going to promote the state, the local government headquarters. These are areas we need collaboration from the oil sector. And why am I saying that? Lastly again, why am I saying that? That as a youth, I came to see that there is oil in our area. Now, as a senior youth, I cannot even drive to my place. Is that not a shame? to us as a country, that a place where the golden egg is being laid, that the golden egg will soon fall and break. But that is not what we want. Like I said, anything that is not good, hold me responsible or you go to court. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ibiari Jones. The voice is that of the Honorable Commissioner for Mineral Resources. Okay, this is the best time to find out the months, please. The Honorable Commissioner for Mineral Resources, Dr. Ibiari Jones, and the message is that of His Excellency. Now, we're quoting him. If he spoke anything wrong, he's responsible for it. The good parts belong to the governor. And while he was speaking, I was reminded of the fact that he said his speech was not going to be very long at all. And then we had lastly, like 5 times. Thank you very much, sir. The lecturer in you really came out to play. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you so much, sir. And so I'd like to take a couple of announcements before we proceed. With the remarks from the representative of the governor of Bayelsa State, it marks the opening of NOGOF 2023. But before we proceed for the exhibitions, we're going to have a video. And after the video, there will be group photographs. Please, everyone on the front row, just know you're part of the photograph. So we'll have the photograph session before we proceed for the exhibition. But for now, I would like to take one recognition before we take the video. If the media can prepare the video, please. Please prepare the video. I would like to recognize one of our sponsors, the chairman and group chief executive officer of Oil Serve Group, Engineer Dr. Emeka Okosa, Commander of the Order of the Niger, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. He's represented by Engineer Chuka Eze, FNATE, Managing Director, Frazi Mex Engineering Limited, All Serve Group. Please, let's give them sponsors a round of applause. Thank you. And now the media, if we can have the video, the NCDMB video. Thank you. Thank you very much.